Hello, welcome again on the Vintage Aviation News YouTube channel. Today we are in Pooler, Georgia, precisely near Savannah, south of Georgia, south of Atlanta, and we are visiting the National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force. It's been a while since we've been here. The B-17 behind me was not completed. So we have the pleasure and the honor to meet Scott Lohr, the Executive Director and the President of the museum, for a quick interview and behind the scenes tour as we usually do, and we'll be meeting the curator. So hope you'll enjoy this video as usual, and please subscribe to the channel, activate the little bell down here so you'll be notified every time we go live, and as usual, thanks for watching. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Scott Lohr, CEO of the National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force, and it's my pleasure to be with you today. I've been with the museum for just shy of 6 years as its CEO. It's a true honor to be part of this remarkable organization, this remarkable museum, which opened in May of 1996. It was the dream of one particular gentleman, Major General Lou Lyle, who flew with the 8th and actually commanded 2 of its bomb groups. General Lyle, Colonel Lyle at the time, flew well over 70 missions, documented missions, and may have flown even more. But it was his vision to see that the 8th Air Force, our nation's most storied Air Force, had a home, a permanent home for its history. And he really was compelled to do that when he saw, years after after World War II, and the 8th veterans would get together, and each year there were fewer veterans showing up to literally tell war stories. And General Lyle said, well, we need to make sure this history is captured, preserved, and that it has a permanent home, so that not only the stories are preserved, but the lessons in those stories, the lessons in courage and honor and duty and sacrifice, those things that are really a part of who we are as a nation, those bedrock elements of who we are as a people, would live on past the last 8th Air Force veteran to pass away. Again, the National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force opened in May of 1996 with a mission to preserve and present the history of our nation's most storied Air Force, the Mighty 8th, which was activated in Savannah, just a few short miles east of where the museum is today. With really nothing more than a mission set on paper. And it would grow to a strength of 350,000 men and women, an array of aircraft with a twofold mission, a rather audacious mission. Young boys and young men, teenagers, young men, were going to take out the Luftwaffe, the most experienced, probably the most technologically advanced Air Force at the time, and then second, cripple the German war-making machine. And they were going to do all of this using high-altitude daylight precision bombing, something that was only a theory at the time. And again, they were going to put this into practice in an effort to take out the German Luftwaffe and neutralize Germany, so that the seaborne invasion, which we know as D-Day, Operation Overlord, could take place. And all of that's told here at the museum in a number of ways. The museum fulfills its mission through collecting objects. We have an extraordinary collection here, probably the most historically significant, most comprehensive collection of objects anywhere in the world under one roof on the 8th Air Force in World War II. The object behind me is not only the largest, but the gem in the collection, the B-17 City of Savannah, which has been fully restored to combat configuration with all working turrets to give our visitors a sense of what aerial combat was all about, what high altitude, heavy bombing was all about. All of that precision bombing, as I mentioned, was predicated on this new device called the Norden bomb sight that could drop a bomb precisely, I use precisely in quotes, on a target. And that's really what it was all about, was dropping bombs on a target, flying in the combat configuration to protect yourselves, flying with the little boys to help you, to protect you as well. But the stories are extraordinary, and all those stories are right here at the National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force. Of course, collecting is at the core of what this museum does, collecting objects, collecting oral histories. The museum has over 1,100 video oral histories with 8th Air Force World War II veterans. Very, very proud of that. And then, of course, the larger collection of objects, photographs, film, etc. But another way in which the museum fulfills its mission is through education programs. And we're particularly proud here at the museum of the over 10,000 school children who come to the museum each year and participate in formal education programs. We have a number of tours. In history education, we do a lot of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math with our young people. We also have outreach programs and digital programming that the latter, for example, go all over the world. You can tap into the museum's website for an array of education programs that are age appropriate and grade appropriate. And then, of course, the lifelong learners, adults. The museum sponsors author talks, lectures, symposia throughout the year. Next year, 2024, is the 80th anniversary of D-Day, and that will be the theme for a lot of the programming we do next year here at the museum as we recall that turning point in world history on June 6th, and really when the tide began to turn in favor of the Allies and the liberation of Nazi-occupied Europe. So it'll be a robust year here in 2024 with programming. Again, it's just one of the many ways in which the museum fulfills its unique mission of preserving and presenting 8th Air Force history.
I'm Dr. Vivian Rogers-Price, and today you're visiting with me in the Roger Freeman Research Center at the National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force. And I'm the person in charge of the Research Center. It is a place for veterans of the 8th Air Force and their families to bring the materials that the veteran saved and to donate them so that he or she have a permanent footprint in the history of the Mighty 8th. And so we have a very large artifact collection, and I'm going to show you 2 items from it, as well as over 120,000 cataloged photographs from basically from World War II, and a very large collection of memoirs, diaries, mission logs, oral histories, so that historians working on the air war in Europe during World War II know that we're a wonderful source for those firsthand accounts, those eyewitness accounts that historians adore having access to when they're doing their initial research, and then they incorporate quotes from them in their published monograph. During World War II, most of the aircraft was non-pressurized, which meant that if you're flying at 20-odd thousand feet, it's extremely cold, approximately 30 to 60 degrees below zero. So frostbite will be a severe problem. You also have to have oxygen at that level, and your breath is going to be much warmer than the surrounding air. So you have to constantly massage the oxygen intake tube so that it doesn't freeze up. And there are roll calls for everybody on the crew in a bomber every 10 to 15 minutes. So that if you don't answer, and the reason is that you have passed out for lack of oxygen, there's a chance to revive you. Also, frostbite was a big problem. So one of the technological techniques was to give the air crew what they called bunny suits. And this is a bunny suit from World War II. They didn't work perfectly. You can see on this one, the little raised areas are the electrical wires. There was a cord that came down from here. And there's also an outlet here so that you could plug your suit in to the right outlet in the plane so that you had access to electricity to keep yourself a little bit warmer. Unfortunately, because they are the wires, there could be some shorts so that there'd be cold spots and 2 hot spots. But it was better than the bitter freezing cold for 8 to 10 hours. I'm standing beside the riding boots that General Ira Aker had while he was still living, and then after his death it was donated. His huge collection was donated to us by his widow. And I picked these because it gives you an insight into his personal life and things he enjoyed. He and his wife actually owned horses and loved to ride.
We're very excited here at the museum about its future. The museum's been open for 27 years, but it's now really time to turn our attention to the future and make plans for the next 27 years and beyond here at the museum. The leadership here at the museum has been raising funds towards a $12 million goal, our maximum effort campaign it's called, and we're about 75% of the way there. We have $9 million in gifts and pledges, and those funds will be invested in an expansion to the building itself. We're adding about 25,000 square feet for new classrooms, new collections, curation space, and almost 14,000 square feet of new gallery space that will house new exhibits. We're going to transform the exhibit program here, and we're going to tell the story of the 8th in World War II through eight chapters. And so it'll take you on a narrative journey, beginning with what we're calling the Dark Clouds on the Horizon Gallery and the rise of Nazi Germany. And then we'll take you through the Friendly Invasion, which was the movement of the 8th to England. And then we'll take you actually, again, in a gallery entitled Courage in the Skies. You will experience what it was like to be an airman at 25,000 feet in otherworldly conditions of 50 below zero Fahrenheit, surviving on oxygen and prayers, quite frankly. And so you'll hear from the airmen themselves through those oral histories I mentioned earlier of what it was like to fly a mission. And then we take you right on through to the end. And what does it all mean? What does World War II mean to us historically? And what's its impact and what is its legacy today as it still continues to influence our country and the world. So very exciting plans for the future of this museum. And we will be breaking ground on the new edition either December of this year or early 2024, and then move right on through the exhibit program. Right now the schedule is to cut the ribbon on this new and improved National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force sometime late summer 2024, late summer 2025, early fall 2025. So approximately 2 years from now, you'll be in the new National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force. A bright, bright future built on a very, very solid foundation of the past.
This wraps up our visit to the National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force here in Savannah, Georgia, Pooler to be precise. So if you ever come down this way, I definitely suggest the visit here. It's a fantastic museum with a lot of 8th Air Force history, and I'd like to thank Scott Lohr for taking the time to talk to me, Virginia, the curator, to show us those artifacts, and obviously my friend Brent Bracewell for facilitating this visit today, Monday. The museum is closed, so they open up for us in order to do this fantastic visit. Again, National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force. I will put the URL down here, Savannah, Georgia. Make sure to visit and support their future expansion campaign. And as usual, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like the channel as well. It kind of will help us a lot if you did that. And make sure to subscribe here, activate the little bell so you'll be notified every time we go live. And as always, thanks for watching, and be a good follower.